Big Blue Nation, welcome back to another episode of the Bluegrass Breakdown. I'm your host, Kyle McClellan, and I'm with my co-host here, Brady Grove. Hello to all our friends over at Fox 56 and our YouTube channel that are watching this episode. Brady, we've had a fun week of back and forth, haven't we?
Yeah, like what a week, dude. It's like this is why I was so hesitant at first to like even celebrate like the Mark Mitchell thing. Like I was because I mean, you saw me last week. I was like over the moon about like what that news was because we had just heard about the temporary injunction, which was great news. Then he commits, and it's like, all right, I think we're good. Like it seems like he's as good as you like get at this point.
Exactly.
And then we hear the what the SEC is saying. The SEC's they're real. Everybody's real hurt about everything, and whatever, like there do need to be changes, some sort of consistency and regulation in college sports. But like the SEC, other people are upset about this. Um, and here's the thing, and what I meant when I shared with other Kentucky insider folks this week, like I think we all know the fallout from this would be tremendous because there is no consistency right now in college sports. So if Martin Mitchell ends up getting ruled ineligible, like, dude, I'm not gonna get broken up about it, and I'm not gonna like sweat it because one, that's what other people want us to do is like be upset about it. I refuse to do that. I was
Mhm.
happy with the roster coming in, and really in 2026, who knows who you could get three more candidates to be your 15th roster spot by October. Who knows? So. I'm not gonna sweat this too hard. All we can do is wait to see what the suits will do with their crazy decision making. There are people that feel like they dude, like when LSU when the news came that Sky Clark had committed to LSU, I was like, get out of here, dude.
Yeah,
That's
it's like, all right,
crazy.
we're
How
just
long has Sky Clark been? And here, I don't make the usual jokes or anything of like, you've already done it for 6 years. Why don't you move on and get a LinkedIn and whatever? It's like, well, dude, why would you when you have an offer for a 1 year contract for a ton of money? That is loser talk from people in society. So,
Oh
like, if
yeah.
you have an opportunity to go make money for a year, it's like, why don't you just move on? It's like, well, in 2026, this is the next step for people. It's a lot of
Yeah.
money, and so I don't knock people for doing that, and people take the opportunities that are available to them. It's a different world.
Yeah, very true. This whole Mark Mitchell thing has been, like I said, back and forth. That's the best way to describe it. We think we're good, and we're like, is it looking good? It's kind of looking all right. It's literally been day to day. It has changed for the past, since last Saturday when he committed. Brady, we all got hype. We were like, Kentucky's a title contender, like it's written in the sand. Averaged 19 points at Missouri. Good playmaker, like we've brought up on this podcast as well. He fits perfect with Kentucky. And now, with that injunction that he got to therefore enter the portal, we were like, okay, he's good. That means you're good to do whatever you want to do. And technically, by school rules, he kind of had until like October if he really wanted to register for classes and get, good on that page and everything. So then we're like, okay, he's good. I guess then the SEC's new rules come out, and it's basically entailing if you sign that professional contract before, if you've signed that Exhibit 10 deal, if you've gone through all this stuff, then you're ineligible in the SEC, not the NCAA as a whole. Okay, that seems fair. Well, Mark Mitchell checks off every box. He didn't sign an Exhibit 10 deal. He was auto-generated into the draft basically because of his eligibility at the time and having already played 4 years at the college level. All these things going, he never signed an official contract with anybody. So it's all confusing because then from Sunday to Monday, you're like, okay, we're good. We're in the clear. Everything's all right. And then now, obviously, we have everything going on. The reports from CBS Sports, Brady, if you'd like to talk about that a little bit more, what they came back with, but it's just an ongoing process as we speak.
Yeah, the thing is like I feel like even if there was I feel like there would just be another legal step past this.
Hmm.
Because the SEC made what did these rules come afterward? Like these were just new. They weren't like drafted and like pending or anything. They just came out with
Yeah,
them.
like new rules because of everything going on with all the 5-and-5 stuff.
That just seems like a wild thing to be able to apply retrospectively to people because you can
Yeah.
only,
I
you
mean,
can only
they said in their thing it was college athletes or college athletes, and they don't want, like you were saying, the LinkedIn guys just joining in on the fun all of a sudden. So it's like,
well,
okay, but you
well,
can't make that in
wait.
August.
Wait, Kai, because like this is the SEC, dude, and like what they want is to protect their powerful brands, especially in football.
Yeah.
The SEC, dude, conferences are so lame. I really think that in a lot of ways, like when you hear like conference commissioner, someone got on the microphone today and said this, and it's like, oh, of course that's what he said. Of course that's what he said.
I
Um,
I think it's funny too. The SEC used to be the SEC, and obviously for a couple of years we've had the Big Ten jokes. But the Big Ten is the one who started kind of like the whole, hey guys, let's get back to what it used to be. And the SEC was like, oh, the Big Ten's doing it? Yeah, we'll do it too. I've always
uh,
thought that's funny because of the conversation we've had for the past couple of years, Ohio State, Michigan constantly dominated in the playoffs. It's just kind of like, I don't know. Big Ten's kind of taken over.
The conference chest thumpers are the weirdest people, dude. Like, it is so weird to take pride in your conference when you yourself aren't doing like it's like the SEC is better. It's like, but you haven't made a bowl game in 4 years. So, like, what does that matter? Like, if you're gonna cry about the conference you're in, go move to the MAC and see if you can do a little bit better there or something. That's it's an option now, but it's just weird to beat your chest over your conference. Beat your chest over what your school does, but like not who your school's friends are.
Yeah, yeah. I will say, like, just the power surge it seems like it's going on is unfortunate. And also, I don't want to be the guy who sits here and is like, they're singling out Kentucky. I don't want to put that out there because I think it's irresponsible. And I think we all know that I'm not going to say they're doing their best to try and figure something out, but it does seem like at least they're trying to create some kind of order and make sure for the future outside of 2026 that everything is smooth. We know the windows, we know what's going on, blah blah blah, right? But I just think the 5-and-5 rule didn't even exist before, they're saying Mitchell should have entered the portal and talking about the interconference transfers for the fans out there. That's what they came back with is they were like, you can't transfer within the SEC outside of April. But the 5-and-5 rule didn't even exist then. So like Aberdeen, Garrison, Diabate, they all went to other teams in the SEC, but they did it in April, so it's okay. But now Mitchell, before the 5-and-5 rule even existed, is now being told, well, you didn't do this back in April when you were supposed to. So, there's some conversations to be had. And I don't know, Brady. It just seems like kind of unfair. Like, why is Kentucky the only one dealing with this, especially when our guy Tristan pointed it out, like we have a 25-year-old who's going into his seventh year of college basketball on our team. Logically, how does it make sense that a 22-year-old can't join the roster? Like we're just
And
looking at it very, very blankly.
yeah, and like I will say like in the past, Enos Cantor, Big Z, those felt like situations where Kentucky had been singled out because we had such a problem getting European players eligible for so long. It was the
Yeah.
wildest thing. And of all things, you look back at like the money that Enos Cantor made as a professional before coming to Kentucky, and you think about it now, and it is hilarious. Uh, right now, I think Mark Mitchell is a part of a group that the SEC is looking to make an example of, and not like to punish, but like, like this is the hill we're gonna die on. Like we're trying to, and they're not doing it out of fairness, dude. No conference has ever done anything out of the interest of fairness. Not one of the power conferences, certainly. They're
Yeah,
not looking to balance power. And so I think Mark Mitchell is a part of a group that the SEC is trying to die on a hill of and try to get some power back to where they can control things and not the courts. They're very not used to that. Now,
yeah,
just as a general principle from the legal side, is that courts don't tend to like when non-courts try to make rules that try to invalidate what their, rulings were supposed to signify.
exactly. That's
So
the whole point of going to court and filing is because that lawsuit opens things up.
yeah, so I don't know, man. Like you could drive yourself crazy sitting here and thinking, "Oh my God, what are they gonna do?" And but it's not worth it, dude, because there's a dude in a robe, there's a dude in a suit that is somewhere thinking about what they're gonna do. It's very hard to have control over that, and I'm not gonna sweat something I have no control over that I might, and then like get like super upset and mad, like if it ends up going the wrong way.
Mhm.
Especially because like it's weird to think that this is something that is like a college sports fan of a team you're owed when you didn't even know it was a possibility like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
it's
don't.
like we were thrilled about the roster as it was coming together, and when you got Milan Momcilovic, it was like, all right, no, this is something. And it was like elevated to a way higher point. Like people really, but did you notice? After Mark Mitchell was about to commit, people started downplaying what their projections were of the team before. Like
Oh
after
yeah.
with Milan Momcilovic, it's
Yeah,
like, dude,
that's
this is a team that can make a Final Four. And then afterward, when Mark Mitchell was like, this is a national title contender. That other team, I don't know what they could have done. It's like we were pretty happy with it before that, man. Like
yeah.
every team has some question marks, you know. Like every
Mhm.
team has a spot where it's like, but how are they going to handle that? That's what coaching is for. That's what player development, and player improvements for. That's what trying to get people that fit into the same scheme together is for. So if you go in without a college all-star team with an all-star power forward at that like spot, that's okay. We have options at power forward. We have options how to handle that without necessarily having to have a prototypical four. So
Mhm.
whatever happens, it's going to be okay because eventually we're going to start playing basketball games and none of this will matter once you start actually piling up results, good or bad. If we got Mark Mitchell, but we still lose, 5 out of 7 games to ranked teams, well,
Oh
then all these
no.
national title projections don't mean anything. So
Yeah.
all that ever matters is what happens on the court come basketball season. But yeah, it's been a wild week, and like I still hold out plenty of optimism. The SEC and the NCAA toothlessly and incompetently try to do stuff all the time to control their little worlds. But the fact that a court ruling went in Mark Mitchell's favor one time is a good, a positive indication moving forward.
So, not to scare any of the fans, but this is like a fair warning. We're recording at noon right now. And what we know is that from what they've accused Kentucky of doing for allowing Mark Mitchell to commit to the school outside of April per their league policy, they brought up those rules where they're like, head coach could be suspended for half the season, a fine, which is going to be God knows what. And you're just like, this seems a little ridiculous, does it not? Then obviously, I have Ross Dellinger's tweet pulled up here from Yahoo Sports says attorneys and men, they're completing the Kentucky eligibility lawsuit against the AA. Meaning Mark Mitchell's attorneys are fighting against the SEC on this. Um, again, like this just seems like there's no way I thought it would get to a point where like, is Mark Pope really gonna be suspended because of this? Like it seems almost childish. Like it seems just a pointless gesture. And I know Kentucky back in 2021 fought against this, but back then, players only had 4 years of eligibility and players could only do 4 years of college and people transferring was rare and you didn't see it as much as we are today. There's people who have been committing to schools live as we speak. And it's just, it seems like, why is Kentucky the only one having these issues?
Yeah, they're picking a hill to die on. And honestly, Kai, like, all right, like the immediate effect of like, let's say Mark Pope gets suspended for half the season. Ooh, this just became a very interesting season, didn't it? Like,
Yeah, like,
I said it in the group text too. I was like, honestly, man, it kind of feels good again to have people working against us and to have people mad about like moves that Kentucky has made. Like that makes me feel warm again. Like you know what? There was a period of time where people weren't as concerned about what we were doing and people didn't hate us as much because even with Calipari's recruiting efforts, like things didn't kind of feel like that. But people were mad to see Mark Pope start to get some momentum together as far as a
mhm.
recruiting standpoint. And it just feels good again to feel like we're under fire. I miss this feeling.
See, I don't know that feeling. I'm new. This is my second year. I went to college for 4, so it's like I've seen the Big Z stuff, and I lived through that as a student, as someone just going to the games casually, and now I get the other side of it with Mark Mitchell here, and it almost feels like wouldn't as a conference you like I'm thinking very logically through this because that's just how I go through these situations. But doesn't it seem like wouldn't you make more money from Kentucky being a dominant brand again and being on top of college basketball as a conference? Like I think like front runner, I'm thinking you should be coddling Kentucky just to make sure you're creating revenue and you have interest in your conference again.
And look, man, historically, we've gotten plenty of breaks, I'm sure. Now, like, I'm not on the naive side either, dude. Like, it is crazy that there are Kentucky fans out there that would say, like, Kentucky in its entire history of basketball has never done anything wrong, but look what Carolina did or something. And it's like,
Yeah,
I'm sure
like
that's not the, I'm
I've
sure
heard
that's not
that. I've heard that a couple times.
I'm
Trust me.
sure that's not the case, dude. It's major college sports. Now, if you're going to talk about why the SEC would have a reason to maybe like try to hinder Kentucky a little bit, is that most of the power and money is in football, and plenty of football schools are also trying to come up in the basketball world. So there's that. Yeah, the thing is, this is also why, like, you're thinking about it logically, and that's how people should think about everything. But like, this is not a logical world, Kai. This is not a world where like logical thinking is going to necessarily lead you to the correct
Fair,
conclusion.
especially in
Uh,
court.
and because logically, like there are people that have been college athletes for 7 years. And I mean, logically, there's a quarterback that's going to be playing football this year that did something that if you did it once 10 years ago, your name was erased from the entire world of sports. You were not allowed to do that. And now it's
Yeah.
like, all right, everybody cut the kid a break. And like, it's like, I'm not, it doesn't make me that mad or anything, but like what it is an inconsistent standard for college athletics or like college eligibility. So, but like folks, I'm 29. And so I've experienced more of those years of like early Calipari. Felt like everything made so many people upset, and it was a nice feeling to like, John Wall was suspended for some silly, like him and his friends went to some like abandoned house or something. That's why his first game was against Miami, Ohio, when he hit that game winner. Uh, the Enos Cantor thing, my favorite T-shirt for years, and like from middle school onward, was a free Enos shirt. That it was the opinion. Like Enos, when other people play college sports and like go on to the pros, but like they didn't play for Kentucky and like they weren't able to ever play a game. I
Mhm.
don't necessarily consider it like authentic when they say from the University of Kentucky in the draft. Like there's been a couple people like that. With Enos Cantor,
Yeah.
that guy was representative of the time of like, God, like they really do not want us to have some of these people.
Yeah.
So yeah, this feeling of like, ooh, Kentucky's under fire again, and people are on Twitter saying, "Oh, Kentucky does this all the time." I'm glad this is happening. It's like, okay. All right, yeah, I love to see it, dude. That's fun. That's fun. You don't want to be a college athletic program that nobody cares about. You know, that's how you become Indiana.
Well,
I'm
hey,
not even trying to talk. I'm not even trying to throw shade at that. That is legit. When you consistently are saying we don't want to be a part of the postseason, like what about the NIT? No, we don't want to be a part of that. What about the college basketball crown? No, we don't want to be a part of it. So you don't want to play basketball in March at all? That's
yeah,
crazy, dude. People are forgetting.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you on the Indiana stuff. I think too, like it for just fans and us as journalists trying to keep up with everything, it's annoying because the rules in football are different,
And for our
and
parents who are
they're
older and not on the internet as much.
yeah, like oh my gosh, like it's hard to explain to like people over and over and over that aren't involved in social media, and then also trying to do the same for our lovely Big Blue Nation out there as well. But like college football is different, and we saw a guy with literally the Cleveland Browns, my favorite NFL team, warming up as a tight end. He changed interconference. He went from Ole Miss to LSU technically. He went to a different school, but in our Kentucky football program, we're not allowed to have a guy who played for 2 years at the university, 4 years at the university, and then wants to come back for a fifth. And no, you're not allowed. You can't do that. Like you didn't even play in the NFL at all. You just kind of like dilly-dallied in a training camp, but like, you're not allowed to come back. And then they make like this whole TJ Harden thing, they made him eligible, but by the SEC's new rules, obviously he signed that pro contract with the Seahawks, so he's not able to come back. And we Kentucky and Missouri were like the big dogs for that prospect. So it's all again, that's another thing. It's like, well, why is it different in football? Why is, you know, he eligible and can play for LSU all of a sudden? I don't know.
I mean, you remember the whole thing last year too, like like Alabama got that like injunction for Charles Bediako, and the
hmm
guy was like allegedly like an Alabama like NIL donor, like something absolutely bananas. Like you could
Yeah, like
not believe, but it's like, oh, like things really do work like they are on TV a lot of the time. Like things really are just what they seem sometimes. Um, so yeah, I think the most important part here to make it seem the least like we are complaining on behalf of Kentucky, and to be clear, like we still
yeah,
don't know what's going
like
to happen with Mark Mitchell. We still don't know at all, and
we
we won't
could,
know three indications for now. We won't know until he is either on the court or not on the court for the start of play.
and that's
Um,
what's frustrating is there's no like finding out, and the season starts in like 60 days, and we're just like sitting here like, what's going on? Like football's right around the corner. Next Saturday, it'd be nice to know. We know Alex Afari's taking legal action over there, but it would be kind of nice to know if we have a really good linebacker playing for us next Saturday. Like that'd be great.
in like FCS play started last night. Like it's
Yeah.
right here. You used to know definitively who's going to be on your roster by like June at the latest. Like, and so it's the most important point of all of this, so that it doesn't seem like we're just sitting here pleading on behalf of Kentucky or talking about anything that Kentucky is this. There is no consistency in eligibility throughout college sports, and you want to see fair rules that allow people the freedom they should have as American college athletes, but you also want to see consistency because you have to be able to there has to be some sort of you need to be able to rely on certain rule and say, all right, based on this, we think we can do this. So we're going to go do that. You need to be able to rely on rules that exist at the time, and there
Mhm.
has to be some sort of consistency. And you can say that you can make a point that maybe Mark Mitchell shouldn't be eligible, but you cannot make the argument that there is consistency in eligibility through college sports.
Yeah, very true. And you know what? Like, news could break before this podcast even goes up. I'm gonna do some editing and get it up on our YouTube. It could be 4 o'clock, and there could be a tweet or an update or something that comes out, and it's gonna be like, well, Mark Mitchell's looking good now, and it's just gonna be it will happen, and we'll have to deal with it. Um, like you said, consistency matters extremely, and unfortunately, the SEC is kind of like this may be their. I'm trying to think of the word. Like their pedestal power surge with Mark Mitchell is like they're gonna be like, nope, here's the new rules, and you know what? I get that he, is good to go on all the new rules, but here's this rule that we put in power back in 2021 that we've never used, but we're going to lay the law down and let everyone else know that this is how it's going to be going forward. I'm just like, I'm sitting here like, man, like we're going in a circle talking about it, but I'm just like, I don't understand why it isn't consistent.
Because, like, I mean, if fairness was the driving force through the history of college athletics, the history books would look a lot different, you know?
Hmm.
And I guess in everywhere else, sure. But particularly, like, I mean, there is a reason that the top 5, 10 power football programs play the least amount of road games and the least amount of back-to-back road games. And there's a reason that when they go on the road, it's a much better setup than when, than when the average school, like in any conference that isn't protected by those conferences, doesn't have to go on the road back to back and play Penn State, and
Oregon.
Iowa back to back on the road. There's a reason that certain
Right.
schools don't have to do it. There's a certain reason that certain schools don't have to go on the road and play a tougher, SEC opponent that has a good home environment. And the road game was Vanderbilt for so many years. There's a reason that this
Mhm.
happens, and it's not because that they're fair, just individuals running college sports conferences.
Yeah, yeah, good points. I mean, we're living in it. Obviously, the next couple of days, hopefully, we'll find out. Um, our last point here, but like Mark Mitchell was supposed to be in classes already. He was supposed to be on campus practicing with the team, ready to go. And now all this is kind of bleeding into that. Is there a world where we're just kind of like, or if Mark Pope's just kind of like, do we even go through with this? Like, do we kind of just leave it out to us and just did what we should have done to begin with and not even entertain bringing in a 5-5 player? I don't know, but that definitely could be a thing that happens.
Look, man, Mark Pope grew a beard. All right. We talked about the tone
He's
shift for
dark
Mark
Pope
Pope.
now.
Yeah,
I
we talked
forgot.
about the tone shift. We talked about the psychological shift. I think Mark Pope has made it kind of clear through his continued efforts that he is willing to fight with people about this,
Oh yeah,
which is
no
good to
doubt.
see. You
I
want to
think there's
see
a
people.
world
Yeah.
where I don't know, you're just kind of like
Dude, I'm sure they have to kick it around. It'd be crazy if they're not considering all options.
yeah.
But I think Mark Pope is doing what if he wasn't trying for this, it'd be maybe a little bit more concerning. I think Mark Pope is very aware what the implications of season three of his tenure at Kentucky are for. Let's say that as bluntly as possible. He knows how important season three is to his
Mhm.
legacy at Kentucky, to his tenure as head basketball coach, and so he wants
His
to go
future
in.
of coaching,
He
really.
wants to go into this season with a roster that is designed to mow through college basketball. And it was not going well at first. Now he had the head of momentum. You get Mark Mitchell, and now there's this pesky institution that's trying to stand in your way with the rules, Dolores Umbridge style. So yeah,
That's a good
dude, no one
reference.
likes people with their red tape. No one on earth is like, boy, I love red
No.
tape. I love that. Um, so we'll
I
see,
hear
man.
you though.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see gambling with suspension and fines and blah blah blah. We'll figure out in the coming days. BBN, thanks for watching and listening to us ramble about this and give our opinions. We'll see you all next Friday. We have brand new episodes up. As mentioned earlier, please check us out on Fox 56. We'll be on there tonight and in the morning, and obviously all our socials. KY Insider on everything Instagram, Facebook. YouTube, TikTok, you can look us up anywhere. We'll be on there. And from me and Brady Grove, we'll see you all next week.